To know how a network operates, we first must learn where it begins. A network technically begins before your modem and router. What was that? What is a modem? What is a router? We will get to that here in a bit. So, a network begins with an internet service provider, or ISP for short. The ISP first runs a form of internet cabling into the building, such as fiber, Ethernet, or coaxial. Here we have a fiber line running into a junction box. The junction box then converts it into a more consumer-friendly form of coaxial. Whoa, that's so cool, how one piece of equipment can convert one type of cable into another. Here we have that converted coaxial cable leading into some kind of box. Can you guess what this box is? That's right, a modem. A modem usually is installed by the ISP, so they can monitor and troubleshoot any issues you may have as a consumer with your internet services. A modem also converts that coaxial cable into an even more universal cable called an Ethernet cable, or RJ45 if you are fancy. Ethernet leading out of the modem usually ends up going to a router of some sort, just like this one right here. You may be wondering also what a router happens to do in a network. Well, we are going to find out right now, after a word from our sponsors. Are you ready to learn about what a router does within a network? Great! So a router helps route internet and network traffic. Usually, most routers consist of more than one Ethernet cable port. They also transmit wireless signals. It kind of acts like a hub, for the lack of better terms, for everything on the network. Some routers can even mesh with a similar routers like this one and turn it into a wireless access point, or WAP. It greatly extends the range of a wireless signal to get the best coverage in a building. Now, many devices connect to a router, such as a cell phone, laptop, television, smart home devices, servers, consoles, and so much more. Some devices can even talk to each other via the network connection a router provides. An example of this is casting a movie from your phone to a television. Did you know that there is another device that acts similar to a router but serves a slightly different purpose? It intermingles many devices so they can communicate easier. That device is known as a switch. Now, a switch can also be composed of Ethernet and fiber ports, or a mixture of both. You can even add more switches to another switch to have even more devices, but this may slow down your network if not done properly, so be sure to read the manuals they come with. There are a lot of moving parts within a network, but what happens when there is a breach in security? Well, you don't usually have to worry too much about it when you have a firewall. Now, firewalls can come in many different forms. For example, they can either be physical hardware or a piece of software built into a router, switch, or even your own computers. There are endless amount of hardware and devices to add to your network, but there is one that is usually overlooked until something bad happens for the first time. The device I'm referring to is called an uninterruptible power supply, or UPS. No, not the guys that deliver your Amazon packages. A UPS sole purpose is to keep your network going during power surges without interruptions. It decreases downtime and wear on the hardware. They can even give you a window of time to safely power off sensitive network equipment before they come to a screeching halt. Now, let's put all these components into play to build an efficient home network for a two-story house. First, we start off with your ISP. This provides access to the internet. From the ISP line, it gets converted to a coaxial cable that gets plugged into a modem. The modem is usually provided by your ISP and can give off a wireless signal in most modern day cases. But we want to take it a step further so we can have a reliable signal upstairs. From the modem, we have an Ethernet coming into a router. In this case, we will have two routers with a built-in firewall. Fancy, am I right? One router will directly plug into the modem to get that stable internet connection. The other router will act as a WAP for the upper part of the house. Now, we have a small mesh network of routers. The wireless access side of things are completely set up. Though we still have more to go, we need a switch to connect to the second router upstairs. This will allow non-wireless devices to connect to the network, such as a homemade media server and a network storage server, or NAS for short. A NAS is an array of hard drives that act as your own personal cloud storage, but at home. Think of it as your home in the clouds. Anyways, back onto our network. So it appears we have a few data sensitive devices on the upstairs portion of the house. I believe it would be efficient to plug those devices into a UPS so they don't end up breaking or even corrupting the data on those devices. Well, we are nearly almost done completing our home network, but we are forgetting one more thing. Even though the routers may have a firewall, that can only go so far in terms of security, as a firewall acts more of a filter than anything really. We must have a second barrier between us and the dangers of the internet. I suggest using a web browser with built-in security features to help prevent unwanted traffic from entering your computer. It is also a good idea to have some kind of light security software on your computer just in case. And without further ado, we have successfully built a home intranet network with internet capabilities. Whew, I'm getting a bit tired, and there's so much more to go on about networks. Networks are ever changing and play a vital role in your daily life. So, try to remember how far a single bit has to travel to make it across its long journey to its destination within your network.